Alright, this video is going to take you through the whole class today. I'm obviously not there. My apologies. The first thing you should do is go through your routines. This is what is on the board. So you have nothing to turn in unless you have late work. Pick up what happened here, the sheet if you weren't here last class. Check the homework board. If you don't see it there, it's also on the front demo table. Pick up frame 1 and frame 1 only. If you want to see where that is, it's on the front demo table where we pick up everything else. And it says frame 1. Do not pick up 2 and 3. That's going to spoil the rest of the activity for you. So frame 1. You need to get a ruler for quantitative observations, and then either a highlighter or some colored pencils, because that's going to help you color code for our activity today. So why don't we have everybody pause the video, Ms. Higgins or Ms. Jenkins or whoever the teacher is with you, and let everybody go pick that stuff up. All right, you're done pausing. So the next thing on our routines list is the learning target. It's a repeat. You don't need to write it down. The learning target is I can develop a valid inference based on both qualitative and quantitative observations. So today, doing the activity What Happened Here, you guys are going to use qualitative and quantitative observations to help you come up with a valid inference or conclusion. Why don't you guys pause the video and talk with Ms. Jenkins or Ms. Higgins or whatever teachers are there, the definitions of inference, qualitative, and quantitative. Those 3 definitions, or the underlined words in the learning target. Pause. Go talk about those words. All right, you talked about the underlined words from the learning target. Your homework tonight, which Ms. Higgins or Ms. Jenkins or whichever teacher is there is going to stamp into your agenda, is that you're going to finish the activity we start in class today called What Happened Here. You're going to finish the observations definitely in class today because you have more than enough time to do those. But you might need to work on the paragraph or the extension or additional questions at home. There's no warm-up today. Since we're kind of walking through this as a group, just hang tight in your seats and your teachers are going to get you into the activities. All right? So pause until your teachers are ready, and then they'll hit restart, and I'll explain the activity to you. All right. So the activity, What Happened Here? You have the sheet that you picked up last class. If you weren't here, you lost it. You picked it up this class from the front demo table. It looks like this. It says, What Happened Here? I want everybody, teacher, can you pause the video after every kid and make sure that every kid has a name and date on this. So pause, see if everybody's got the name and date. All right, everybody's got their name and date. That's great. We're going to go over the situation, the data collection, and then how to write the paragraph and submit. And then after that, you're going to work on it, and if you don't finish it, it's your homework. And if you do finish it, good for you, no homework. Enjoy your weekend. So, the situation. The pictures given to you are of prints discovered on a recent archaeological dig at a dry creek bed in the Badlands of South Dakota. So you guys are digging, and you come across these prints in the ground. The first picture you picked up, because you only picked up 1, not 2 and 3, is the first set of prints you find as you're digging. Your role is that you are the lead paleontologist, you study fossils, and your job is to collect and record data from the scene into the chart below. So you guys are going to be making observations from the frames, and you're going to record your observations or your evidence or data into the boxes. You'll be expected to use your observations to develop new inferences. So you're going to take the observations from that frame and come up with an inference, or like we like to say, conclusion of what you think happened. You'll eventually submit a report of your findings to the federal agency, that's your audience, who funded your dig. The accuracy of your report will determine whether or not your program gets funded in the future. Your goal is to use observational skills, both qualitative and quantitative, to defend a logical inference which will prove that you need funding, that you deserve funding in the future. So let's talk about how this is going to work. The first half of class today, you guys are going to be making observations. So everybody's got their frame 1 card. That looks like this. What you're going to do is in the section for frame 1, so before the first cutoff, is make 3 observations. 1, 2, 3. So you're going to look, measure, whatever you need to do to make observations, and list the observations in these 3 sections. Now, if you read the directions really carefully, it says that you need to make qualitative and quantitative observations. So you've got to have at least one of each, and then the last one's kind of a free, be whatever you want. So it'd be qualitative, qualitative, quantitative, 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 qualitative, qualitative, quantitative. It doesn't matter the order, but as long as you have at least one qualitative and one quantitative, and then the extra one, you can pick. Do you want it to be qual? Do you want it to be quant? So you're going to fill in your observations. You picked up a ruler in order to make your quantitative observations. So you're going to make observations. After you make your observations, you're like, I see this, I counted this, I measured this. Then you're going to look and be like, what's my conclusion? What's my inference? What did happen here? So for this one, you're going to look, you're going to record your observations, and then you're going to come up with a conclusion. I infer that there were dinosaurs or something walking. I don't know, just based on what you see. Everyone's going to work at their own pace. So you might finish frame 1 quickly. You might take a long time. Just kind of depends at the pace you're working at. After frame 1, you keep that on your desk, and you're going to go back to the front where you pick up stuff and grab frame 2. I'm not going to show you what it looks like because I don't want to spoil it for you before you make your inferences. But then you're going to put frame 2 next to frame 1, and you're going to do the same thing. Make some observations, both qualitative and quantitative. Come up with an inference of what you think is happening in that scene, and then move on. You're going to go up to the front, grab frame 3. You're going to put it with frame 2 and frame 1 for a complete picture. You're going to make observations. They go on to the back, just a heads up, because we ran out of room. And then you're going to make an inference of what you think happened. So you're making observations in this column, both qualitative and quantitative for all 3 frames. And you're going to make an inference of what you think is happening based on your observations. All right? That's the gist of the activity. That's the first half. The reason you picked up a highlighter or a colored pencil is because we're going to make a key right now. On your paper, everybody needs to do this, so the teacher is going to pause the video pretty soon. You're going to take one of your colors or highlighters and make a box and write qualitative. Because look, I'm going to write my qualitative observations in blue. I see webbed toes. That's the description. So I wrote a qualitative observation in blue. Because part of this activity is showing your teachers that you know the difference between qualitative and quantitative, right? So you're not just making observations, you have to tell us what type they are. Let's say my other color is orange, or maybe I just use regular pencil. It's up to you, whatever you do. You gotta finish your key. Orange is quantitative, so you see, you can pick your colors. Or maybe, Miss Jenkins, if you want everybody to pick one highlighter and everybody highlights quantitative and everybody leaves qualitative alone. And then you'd write your quantitative and whatever color you pick quantitative. I see 97 prints. So I'm meeting the requirements of the assignment because I have both qualitative and quantitative. I see webbed prints. I'm describing the qualities, so it's quantitative. I see 97 prints. That's quantitative. It's looking at the quantity or the number. And then this one you get to pick. Do I want it to be blue and qualitative or orange and quantitative? Then I get to make my inference. I think that I see dinosaurs walking to the same spot. I don't know. What are you concluding based on what you see? So we're going to do that for all the frames. And that's the first half of the assignment. If you flip to the back, once you're done with your table, you see that we have the products needed for this assignment. The first product is your observation inference organizer. That's the table we just did. The second product is the report to the funding agency. In the report to the funding agency, everybody take a pencil right now, or pen, and draw an arrow to the standards. Because the standards are going over the report to the funding agency paragraph. There's 3 parts you need to the paragraph. 1 is the main idea. What do you think happened there? What's your main inference? 2, what are your observations that led you to that? And then part C wants you to look at how your inferences changed over time. So what was your first inference and why? What was your second inference and why? And then kind of hit back on your final inference and make sure you hammer it home why your conclusion is correct. Part D isn't anything you need to add, but that's just a style you should be writing in. So if you're acting as a paleontologist who's kind of begging for money for research, you're getting paid essentially to do the research because they think that you're smart and they think that you're going to do good research. They're more likely to choose you and pay you if you sound smart when you're writing to them. I wouldn't hire a scientist that was like, hey, dude, I think this because blah, 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 blah. I would pick a scientist that said, dear federal funding agency, this is my inference of what happened. I believe it because I have plenty of evidence. Here's the evidence I have. So it's your tone. You need a good grammar, good spelling. That's what really matters. So let's review the products. Observation inference organizer. Color-coded observations. What's your conclusion? Paragraph, based on these standards. And then the last thing, those are your extension questions. So the observation inference table and the paragraph will be graded on, are you doing things correctly? These 2 are graded on your effort. All right. So number 1 asks, can we ever be absolutely sure about what happened on this rock slab that we're studying 65 million years ago? Can you know that your inference is right or that your neighbor's is wrong? It's kind of a philosophical question, right? What do you think? Can we actually ever know the capital T truth? Question 2 is, in scientific cases, like the one that we're looking at, the evidence supports rather than proves our inference. So we can't actually prove that whatever you think happened, happened. But we can make pretty strong inferences based on really good evidence. It wants an example of this from science. So an example of this would be, don't use mine, but we have an inference that a meteor hit the Earth, and that's what caused the demise or downfall or extinction of the dinosaurs. We can't go back in time and prove that. We can't know for absolute sure, but we have lots of evidence that suggests that. So see if you can come up with another one from science. What's something we're pretty sure is true, but we have lots of good evidence, and we can't technically prove it. Like, we're pretty sure the dinosaur extinction was caused by a comet or a meteor, but we can't actually know 100%. So I'll write the stuff on the board. I'll write save. Hopefully the custodians don't erase it. 1, you went through routines. 2, you did observations color-coded with a key. 3, you wrote your inferences, and you turned it into a paragraph. And then you did some thought-provoking questions about how scientific knowledge changes over time. Your homework is to make sure that this page is complete with the paragraph. The paragraph, if you look on Schoology, it says you can either submit on Schoology or you can print and staple. So this needs to get turned in person next class, this physical sheet, but the paragraph can be floating around on Schoology or it can be stapled to this. It's up to you. Best of luck. See you guys next week.